Hiya. So the last couple of devlogs have been about the tools and tech on this section of the map, and today I just want to wrap it all up and show you some of the gameplay and how I've implemented that. So I'm not completely done here. I need to have some baddies floating around in this top section and a few more things for you to sort of hack and slash and pick up and stuff. But the block out is actually kind of here. And I'll probably put some more NPCs in just to give you a bit of direction. But this is like my dark, foggy wood analog, which you sort of recognise from other Zeldas. It's right next to the starting area, so I don't really want this to be the first dungeon that people go to. So I've kind of gated it off with a couple of equipment things. You need the wand, which is, you know, a quest chain all of itself, and you also need the kind of bow and arrow, which I've just added the last week or so. The bow and arrow, I think you'll be able to get quite easily. I think I'll probably just have it so you can buy it from a shop or something. But the wand will be a whole quest chain. You've got like a quick fire thing, which has got a few issues still. I need to kind of detect where on blocks and spawn the effect. And it's possible to get the camera stuck if you start mashing the buttons. So I need to have a look in that. But it's nearly there, basically. And you can Z target stuff with that. And the idea, obviously, with the whole section is if you don't have the wand, you'll be gated because the fog's going to encroach on you. You'll only be able to get so far. So even if you tried to run, you wouldn't be able to. Eventually, the fog's going to catch you and it's going to spit you back out. And if you do have the wand, don't have the bow and arrow, that's going to block you because some of the vines are just going to get in the way. So you need to be able to shoot things from a distance. And then that'll let me do a few things in the dungeon, which I want to play around with. So I don't have damage in the game at the minute because I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to do. I'm quite close to having like no death in the game at all. And the whole of the overworld's not meant to be a massive challenge. It's the dungeons that are going to be like the serious stuff. So even the AI that's here, it's all going to be quite easy to kill. And I've put some spiders in that are attracted to the wand. They simply just spook you a little bit and they sound quite good. And I've actually put in some spiders with a bit better AI that will try and attack you, but again, they're like the A-team. They literally can't hit you. They throw these big things up in the air. And the idea really is they're pretty simple to kill, but you're going to have to be juggling the sword and the wand and the bow, and there's a tiny chance that the fog might get you, but it's not really set to be difficult. You've got like way more time than you kind of need to get through here. So there's a few sort of sticky patches on the floor, and the spider's blob will obviously sort of stick you about, slow you down a bit. But you'll be able to juggle your inventory. It doesn't stop you actually changing anything, so you're always going to have the wand, so it shouldn't be a massive challenge. And you can walk through here. So I started messing around with the level sequences as well. These are actually quite simple to put in. And the nice thing with the level sequences is I can also turn on, different little groups of AI. So those spiders you've already walked past once, but they're now enabled because of the level sequence. It's a really simple and powerful thing actually, but I like them a lot. It's this stuff is so time consuming on Lumo, it's not even funny. But I've done all of this section in 4 or 5 days basically. Yeah, there's a few glitches on the camera here. You can see it's where it's slowing down. It's popping quite. It's not doing it too much there. Yeah, it snaps. So I need to roll that down. So there's a few little glitches and stuff that are only coming out in gameplay, but it's nearly there. So yeah, this is the whole section in the editor. The fog's turned off for obvious reasons, but you can see all of the spawns. The simple spiders basically have two map locations. They just check if the player's within a sort of radius, and if the wand's on, they'll run from one to the other. The vines, I don't actually use collision meshes on the vines because it was a big performance hit to actually animate those meshes to retract them. You can turn all of the collision off and then retract the vine. But what I actually ended up doing is just it's easier to fake it with boxes. I don't really need it to be accurate. If the player's in the general area, I can just bounce them back and spawn a VFX. So not accurate, but it's good enough, and it saves me doing a lot of stuff in the blueprint to update them. The sticky patch is just a trigger capsule, debuffs the player if you walk into it. The spiders that jump down, they don't actually jump. I could have got the character controller and I could have said, right, jump. But instead, I actually just scoop these down a spline as well. Gives me, you know, really simple control in the editor. I can say exactly where I want the spider to go. The spider trap's got a trigger area, so I can place the triggers kind of independently of the splines. And it means I've got, you know, I can really easily just say, right, I know the player's going to be roughly here. I want the spiders to kind of go there. There's one up here which it literally just jumps right in front of you because you sort of hit it here, and by the time the spider comes down, it's effectively a face hugger. But the rest of them actually give the player a fair bit of notice. A couple of cameras in the world for doing the level sequence cuts. The level sequences are triggered just within the vine. It can kind of say which sequence needs to trigger. So the spiders are pretty simple. It's two components basically. There's the trap, which is the trigger and the spline, and a spider, which basically starts with its AI turned off until the trap kind of triggers it on, and then the first thing it'll do is just sort of jump down this spline. So there's two bits of AI for the spider. There's the attack, and then there's a little bit of movement, so it sort of stays roughly within a distance of the player. You can see it starts without its AI turned on, and then you can see it's kind of scoring. The reason that's flicking off is when the spider shoots at you, all of the AI is turned off for a bit. It's basically just to let the animation do its thing without any possibility of it being interrupted. You can see when it gets too far, it starts trying to run at you, and then when it's close enough in the Goldilocks zone, it thinks it can shoot at you, so it'll have a go. Now, if it does hit you, it won't ever bother trying to shoot at you until you break free. It's just to stop you getting spammed, so it's only going to be like a one-time thing. So yeah, in terms of actual AI, there's hardly anything to it. The stay and strike distance is really not doing a lot. It runs an EQS query, which just creates a donut around the player. The problem I do have with this is all of the spiders tend to kind of pick the same sort of position. So what I'm actually doing is just taking any valid position from anywhere in the donut in a hope that they'll kind of spread out a bit, but they tend to just all try and get right in front of the player. So that could definitely be improved. But if the EQS query comes back and there's a good thing, then we can actually just start the move to thing. Tell the character controller what to do, and the spider will just sort of run off. That can get overridden by the attack. If it hasn't attacked for a while, If it's not hit the player for a while, and if the player's within the attack distance, then this will just score a 10, so it'll override everything. When it enters the action, it actually bounces back up to the NPC, tells the NPC to attack. And that attack stops the AI, stops the movement, begins the animation. There's an animation notifier which actually follows the projectile, delays turning back on the AI for a while. The animation notify comes back to here, which is where the projectile comes out. And that's kind of it. It's really simple. So yeah, sorry for not doing a devlog for a long while. Bunch of personal stuff's got in the way. I took about a month off because we've moved house, but we're all settled in. My office is set up. I'm back to work. You can catch up with me during the week on Twitch. The dev blog is up on my website, and that's kicked off again. So please like and subscribe. Check out some of the other videos and jump into the comments if you've got any questions. Thanks for watching.